So this is in response to Peter Dutton calling Zelensky a war hero. Peter Dutton, you are the opposition leader in Australia, and you've always been a dipshit and a dumb shit. I did have a little bit of high hopes for you, but your genius keeps shining through. And that's sarcasm, by the way. So let me give you a little bit of history for you. If it wasn't for the Soviet Union, China and India, mainly Soviet Union, World War II would have been won by the Germans. But thankfully, for the Soviet Union on the East Front, they broke through the barrier and they got East Germany, in which case Adolf basically surrendered. So you need to thank the Soviet Union for all of that, not America. America's like that, the gimp at the end. They come in and they take credit for everything, when really they did fuck all. But, you know, that's what they do. Just like the Ukraine, they are funding the war in Ukraine, letting everybody else do the destroying, and then they'll come in for the glory, just like they did in World War II. They came to the party late in World War II and World War I, and now they'll come to the party late with Ukraine. They'll supply the weapons like they did in all three scenarios. They'll fund it, and they'll come in and take the glory, because apparently to them, they wouldn't have won it. But let's get a couple of facts straight, Dutton. It was Soviet Union who lost 24 to 27 million people on the Eastern Front, mainly. And they are the ones that won the Second World War. And surprise, surprise, China. China also lost millions of people. I believe they lost about 15 to 20 million people during that time. And then we have India. You know, the country that Western countries all look down on, as if they're nothing and no one. Well, let's get some history details into the mix of things. See, for the last few decades, we have been taught that China and Russia are nobodies. They're communists. They're aggressive. We should never have allies with them. We should be away from them. But if it wasn't for those two countries, Germany would look very different today. And that's a cold hard fact. And you know what's a really hard pill to swallow is realizing that Western countries are the most dangerous countries in the world. We invade other people's countries for resources, for money, for wealth, and we're the bullies. We send our troops to their countries and we dismantle their lifestyle, we steal their resources, and then our politicians make out that we're the good guys. Well, we're not. See, I keep telling people, when you pick up a book, especially a book on history, make sure that you read all the people that are involved, their history books. Because if you're savvy enough, you'll figure it out that it's us who are the invaders. We destroy people's lives and we destroy their countries, all in the name of a flag, especially the United States flag. And that's the problem with the United States. They've never had a war on their doorstep to see the devastation of what it does. And unfortunately, and it's really sad, but I think that's what it's going to have to take for the Americans to see what other countries have been living through for decades because of their warmongerings. And it's not the American people, it's the American politicians. And I truly do believe that those political systems are designed for the rich. They're also designed for people to be elected through these small groups of people with a lot of power and money. And that's the saddest part, because I'm sure there are lots of everyday normal Americans that could do a better job at running the country than those in pockets of wealth. And that's a fact. But I will not accept Albanese and Dutton supporting Ukraine as if the rest of Australia support them. It's our taxpayer money that's going over to support war criminals. Yet you can send our SAS to our Australian legal system and call them war criminals when it's you who have sent them over there. It's you. But you'll hang them out to dry because you sent them there. So Australia, when you go to the elections next year, yes, we have a two-party system, but it's about time that we start voting out of the two-party system. Vote for independent people like myself and people that don't believe in war, because there's enough devastation and destruction in the world. And for the record, China and Russia aren't the bad guys. It's us. It is us.
Look, there's just no doubt whatsoever we should be providing more support to Ukraine. President Zelensky is a 21st century hero. He's a man who has stood up against a murderous dictator in Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is still bombing residential areas. He's still killing women and children. And that we wouldn't be standing with Ukraine in that fight for humanity is beyond our comprehension. So I think the Prime Minister needs to show some strength instead of the weakness and stand up and provide the support. As you point out, there are munitions that we manufacture here in Australia, and we have the ability to provide support to Ukraine to help them stare down Vladimir Putin, and we shouldn't be hesitating.